Good morning, we're live. Today, we're going to talk about adding calmness to your commands, or calm on command. Why calmness, I encourage it, and a lot of trainers do, should be a command. We all know our 5 basic commands. We got sit, down, heel, place, and come, but we can also add calmness onto that too, because yes, calmness can be put on command. That's what state of mind training is, and that's what we're going to get into today. So thanks for joining. It's Monday. It's rainy. It's early. I'm tired, so forgive me if I'm a little slow. But this is a good topic. Adding calmness to your commands is going to be something we're going to talk about, but also calm on command, calmness on command, which is state of mind training to me. Being able to make a sound that means be calm. And so really, I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, you know what? We kind of got 6 commands around here, kind of. Because we got the 5 commands, like I was saying, sit, down, place, heel, and come. But then we also have shh, which means to calm down, which is a command. That's calmness on command. So that's why we can hold the dog accountable. Just like we can hold the dog accountable for calming down. The same way we can hold the dog accountable for one of the physical commands. That's cool. That's really cool. I mean, because of that, because we can actually keep our dogs calm, a lot of the problems fall away and the associations heal, right? So that's good. But also, if we can tell a dog to sit or to down or to go to place, and but they're not there mentally, they're not calm mentally. Their body's in a sit, but there's 2 ways a sit can look, right? It could be really, really fussy and like barely holding together, or they could be just waiting very calmly, right? So I see it all the time with dogs who are new to the program. I can put them in a sit and you kind of see this little impatient movement and stuff, and then I go, shh, and you watch them. They say, oh yeah, calmness. So you can add that calmness into your commands and hold them accountable for being calm, not just being in the physical command. But what happens over time is they become the same thing. The dog associates the sit with calm state of mind, the down with calm state of mind. It becomes easier if you're consistent, obviously. But yeah, calmness on command, that's what we're talking about today. I mean, how many people would it help if they could just say one sound and then the dog stops what it's doing and goes and calms down? That's pretty much a lifesaver when you're living with a dog. So today I want to teach you how to do it, because that's the one that I get asked all the time is like, how do you teach the calm state of mind? And so I wrote a scenario down to teach you pretty much the steps of how I would introduce the dog to this stuff, because the dog needs to know you're talking about their energy and their overall engagement with the environment. You're really telling the dog in that moment when you say shh. You're really telling them to be passive. Like don't think about interacting with the environment. Let go of what you're thinking about, and then also take your energy level down. How do we tell a dog to do that, right? Setups. So we set up conversations so that we can talk about this stuff. I'm gonna try to lay it out for you. It's not as complicated as I'm gonna make it sound because I'm speaking. If you watch it a few times with somebody pointing out what's going on, then you see it and then it's easier. But I'm going to do my best here, okay? So imagine this. The way to do it is you take the dog and you bring it into a quiet room. So you have to have a quiet room available without distractions, because we need to get a baseline on the dog. Like if I don't know the dog, because I do state of mind training at any point. I could do it day 1, I could do it day 2, but I tend to start it right away, usually. So if I were to do it, in the first couple of days, this is how I do it. I take the dog into the training room, which pretty much it could be your living room if you're at home. You know what I mean? Just make sure there's not people coming in and out. You can't have that stuff going on right now. You have control of the environment, okay? Now we need to take a baseline on the dog. I'll get a dog in sometimes, I'll bring it out, and it's just kind of elevated. If I'm looking at it from like 0 to 10, its energy is probably somewhere around like 3 at all times. This is an average dog. And possibly like 5. And this is in an empty room. If they're like smelling the couch and stuff, they can get some dog will just start jumping on me and stuff after smelling the couch and stuff like that. This is no real trigger. This is just the trigger of being in the environment. So I'll get a read on the dog of where they are and how bubbly they are. Are they insecure? Are they more confident? I'll get this read, I'll get this baseline. But I'm trying to focus on, I do everything at once, so I'm trying to focus for you guys today on energy and how to teach a state of mind. So I'm going to try to stay on that. But let's say the guy's state of mind is kind of elevated and impatient, like that'd look whiny. The dog would be whiny and fidgety. That is very common. They get into the room, they're elevated, and they're, they don't, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then you see the fussiness. Super common. I take a baseline read of the dog. Okay, if you want at home, you could try to calm the dog down as much as possible. I'll get the dog past the fussiness, so I'll calm it down enough where it's like, it's not super reactive to this empty room. It's kind of just hanging out with me. It's kind of tuned into me. Now I need to enter a trigger. Okay, the trigger that I'm usually choosing is going to be a squeaky ball, especially for a lot of these middle of the road dogs, because it's going to get them elevated. It's going to enter possible prey drive, curiosity, things like this perked up, elevated, forward thinking kind of stuff. So we got our baseline where I got the dog kind of just hanging out. It's still not in a perfect state of mind, but it's at least not all over the room. It's with me a little bit. It's tuned in. Enter the trigger, which would be, today, I'm going to be using a squeaky ball. The dog's elevation is going to go up. I'm going to watch the dog's response, and it's going to go up, okay? As soon as the dog's elevation rises, that's my only opportunity to tell that dog that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you just went from your baseline, which is you chilling with me, to boom. When the trigger comes in the room, your response went boom, your energy went up. I mark that, but I don't necessarily mark it with a no. I'm going to use what I want my calm on command cue to be. I use shh, right? Some people use ah. Some people just want to use no, but I use it separately than no because I'm training the dog through a program, so I do keep them separate. You could use no though, but it doesn't matter. But choose your sound. So I go shh. As soon as the dog elevates in a disagreeing fashion, like my body and everything's a little bit assertive or whatever, like directed towards him, hey, right? And then I apply the correction, right? Whether it's just a physical, it could be a touch, it could just be mild. If the dog really loses its shit, it could be a bonker, whatever happens. Usually the dogs aren't going too crazy because it's just a little squeaky ball. And I can just give a little touch, right? A little touch of my body and then follow through. And so the follow through is the social pressure and the spatial pressure, where you're walking up to a dog after a correction, post-correction, and you're trying to get them to relax. And they know it too. So I'll keep repeating my sound. Shh. And the reason why this is all working is because of the ball. The dog understands it's about a resource. Basically, from the dog's point of view, it's like, here we are, I'm bored. Ooh, a ball. It starts to think about the ball, elevates, and then I disagree, which the dog sees it as me disagreeing with them going after the ball. And I am, but that's not what I want. I'm using that conversation to then teach that shh means to disengage and calm down. So the follow through, I have to make sure that I bring the dog back down to baseline or lower. This is my time, I get the dog to go even lower than their normal baseline and have them hang out there. But if you can only get it back to baseline, that's okay. Eventually, baseline is going to be the calm state of mind, okay? Our dogs carry this when they're not going and doing awesome stuff or like playing or whatever, right? They just hang out in this space that we like them to be in as humans because they're more reliable. And we call it the calm state of mind. Thank you, Caitlin. Caitlin says, great explanation. I'm trying. I'm tired, and I was worried about getting on here today because this is a tough thing to explain without showing. And I was like, man, I got morning brain. But I'm going to give it a shot again. So again, we bring a dog into a quiet room. We get a baseline read on the dog. We try to get the dog to its baseline. What does this dog look like if it is being calm? Even if it's not to our standard, what does it look like if it's just kind of chilling next to me? It might be squeaky or whatever, but I'm not too worried about it. But I'm going to try to get some moment of calmness, and if the dog comes in and it's like at a level 10, excited in the room, then we'll use a bonker or something. Well, you can use a bonker. I might do some other stuff, but either way, we're going to calm the mind a little bit, right? We're going to calm the mind a little bit. And then we have a baseline of where that dog is. Then we add the trigger. We watch the dog elevate. We want the dog to elevate because that's how we can talk about elevation, right? We mark it with what's going to be our cue. Shh. That soon's going to mean whatever we produce. We apply a correction. It's physical. I like the dog whispering stuff. I just touch the dog if it's safe. If it's a biting dog, I'm not talking about biting dogs right now, right? Even though I would do the same thing with a biting dog, it would just be in a safer manner. And then we follow through. We have to follow through with spatial pressure and social pressure. Spatial pressure meaning I'm walking into the dog to push it away from the ball and to tell it to disengage with the activity. And then my social pressure is my eye contact and my intent. I'm saying, the dog's probably thinking I'm saying the ball's mine, and I am. But I'm also saying relax. I'm going for you I want to see some sign that you're disengaging with that ball and you're relaxing, you're submitting a little bit to the fact that you're not going to get the ball. And then I will walk away completely, rewarding the moment that your body went relaxed. I walk away. The reward is me dropping the social and spatial pressure. Okay? So we walk into the dog drops in a sit, usually it's kind of looking at you, and then you see, I'll repeat the sound, shh, shh, with a little bit with movement in my body, and the dog will start to relax. It might go into a sit, you might just see it a little bit in the eyes or in the shoulder, and that's good enough, because even though it's not fully there, I want to reward you relaxing when I'm doing this, because that's what it's going to mean. So I walk away. And then you rest for a moment in that quiet room. Rest and then reset. So you just rest like 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. Just get it off. Let everything be quiet for a moment after that correction. And then reset. Take the baseline. It's usually lower than the first time. Okay? And then you get the trigger. Add the trigger. Watch the dog's elevation, if there even is any. If there is, it's a little, but then the dog's like aware of it and you shush. And the dog's like, shit, that's what he's talking about. When I say, it's the elevation. It's not just the moving forward towards it. And then I don't usually have to come in with a physical. I could just do a little touch just to let the dog know I'm there, but nothing big. But then it's just social, like I'm just looking at the dog and you see the dog start to understand. And if it's having trouble, I'll walk into it a little bit and use some forward motion, and you watch the dog kind of, they say, no, I didn't mean to, or whatever. You watch the dog oftentimes kind of lower themselves and then disengage, and then I walk away. And I did that through dog mentality. Like, that's a resource. That ball is a resource. It's something you want and it's something I disagreed with. And around me, if you relax, I'll leave you alone. And so that's the beginning. That's experience one. That's like one experience upon many that are going to be stacked. Remember, we stack experiences around here till we get to the final result, which is with the way the dog's belief system, right? So also e-collar might be used in this too. I'm probably using e-collar at the same time. I didn't add that because I'm just trying to teach you, rather than the techniques that I'm doing while I'm doing it, just the thought behind it, okay? The theory behind it. So I think I got that through. Let me see, I didn't miss anything. So yeah, that's going to be eventually what's going to happen. Take the dog out the next day, put it in the same room, put it in the same situation, quiet, bring out a trigger, and I'll mess around with multiple triggers. Once the dog understands the conversation of when I say, it means that's not for you and to calm down, then let's just bring all the triggers in the world into this room, right? I mean, we'll go through the typical stuff, the toys, dogs, people, and all this stuff before we bring it out into the community and start teaching the dog. But yeah, so we're going to bring it back into the room, and what we're going to see is that now the dog has knowledge. Now we get to bypass all that early conversation, and I can bring the trigger back out. The dog will, if I use the same trigger, the dog usually always already knows it's not for the dog. It's like, okay, that ball, and it'll look at me. And then I'll say, good. And right there, I'm starting to mark eye contact. I'm starting to get eye contact this day a lot. And marking it so the dog's like, if I'm paying attention and doing what I'm told, this is a whole state of mind to be in, and calm, I'm golden. And so I'll find something else to trigger. That won't trigger. I'll have to find something even harder for the dog. So I might have to bring dogs in now. The toys won't work anymore. It's too easy for the dog. But the dog already has that experience. It has some knowledge. So by the time we get the dogs, I get to work it through that. And shush meaning, shh. always meaning, with my e-collar, of course, I'm using it simultaneously, always meaning relax, disengage. This is what I'm primarily focused on, not the commands at necessarily. Now, if the dog knows commands, I could use them at the same time. Like I could direct the dog around, but I like to do this. Even if the dog knows commands, I try to keep them out of the commands. That's why in the videos you see when a dog comes who knows commands, you see them doing commands in these moments where they know I'm disagreeing. They're just trying to do something, but I'd rather them just learn how to behave socially first, outside of a command, a little bit, before we go and use the commands with the heavy structure. So, because if you don't do that, the dogs are a little wonky. Dogs are a little wonky when they only know these commands and they don't know how to exist outside of them. I see a lot of dogs like that, and it's harder to teach these dogs because then when they're starting to mess up, they go into a command. You're like, no, I need you to explore. I need you to explore more. You haven't done enough of that. And so, I don't want to get off track, but this dog now, I'll have in a room full of other dogs, and I'm able to shush from across the room. The dog's understanding it's a state of mind thing. I don't have to be right up on it. It gives me a chance to get into double down work later on down the road and all that. But the most important thing is when I start going and using commands such as sit, down, and place, if the dog makes a position error, like if the dog gets up and goes off the bed, we're going to be saying no and correcting. That's normal. The dog gets back on the bed, lays down, but now 3 minutes later, it's fussy. Then I can tap. And the dog knows it doesn't mean to get out of your command. And you're not getting corrected for a command you haven't done. You're getting corrected because you're not calm in the command you are in. So you can always use shush in your commands with a correction to hold your dog accountable for the calmness. And that is where the magic's at, okay? So, you gotta, when you're teaching this, now that the dog gets it, you gotta proof it, State of mind, it's like a command like any of the other commands, right? So if I say, shh, that's a command. That means calm down, and I can hold you accountable for it. So the way to proof any command, the easy way to think of it is the 3Ds, which is an old term that's been around for a long time, and it just helps you remember the 3 types of ways to proof a command. Distance, distractions, and what's the other one? Duration. I had to write them down. Duration. So distance, distractions, and duration. We do this for our commands. We do this for sit. We do this for down. We do this for place. Everybody does. But what about doing it for state of mind? And that's a thing that we do here. So let me give you an example. When you're first, like the sit command, how to teach it with these 3Ds. You teach the dog to sit. Awesome. If you're an owner and you taught your dog to sit, that's awesome. The next step that owners usually do after teaching the dog how to sit is they go and they put them right into an organic, heavy distraction situation like kids or people coming over, and then they try to use it and it falls apart because they missed the proofing process of teaching the dog how to do it even through distracting environments and using the 3Ds. Like using distractions to proof it, using duration, how can it stay there without breaking it until it's told? And then distance, can it do it when I'm not around? Can it do it when I'm across the room? Can it do it when I'm upstairs? Or can it stay in its sit when I walk around the house? Distance from you, can it continue to keep doing it? Same with state of mind training. If I put you in a calm state of mind, what happens when I use one of these 3Ds? What happens when I throw a distraction down? Oh, now you're breaking your state of mind. It's like breaking a sit. You have to correct that and bring them back, okay? So, or what if I do it from a distance? I've asked you to be calm, you're laying down here, but then I go upstairs, and now you elevate in energy and start whining. You broke your state of mind command. That's a command. Calmness is a command. Or what if we're sitting there for 2 hours, and we're doing duration now, and you're whining because you're bored? You broke your command to be calm. So complaining isn't calmness. Whining is going to be complaining because they're bored, right? So the 3Ds, distance, distractions, and duration. Can your dog do that? Yeah, I like this shirt too. We'll talk about the shirt in a second. Can your dog do his state of mind training, calmness on command? You said, which means calm down. Now, can you be calm with distractions for duration and from a distance of me if I leave the room or whatnot, if I walk around the house? Can you do all of these? If it can, then it's ready to be put to use. So like any command, teach it, proof it, use it. Okay? Let's get to the comments. All right, there was a comment, but I sometimes not all of them stay on here. I don't know what's going on. So Calm Canine Training, Russ. This shirt Julie bought for me last year, and when she first bought it, I was like, oh hell no. And then I put it on, and it's so comfortable that I wear it as much as possible now. It's very soft. So if there's any questions, let me know. Also, if you're new to the show, thank you for coming in. I'm Josh from Julie's Canine Academy. I do this every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. I try to be on time. Sometimes I'm a little early, sometimes I'm a little late, but roughly. And we talk about dog training, and it's been a lot of philosophy for the past 10 to 12 episodes, I think. So we'll keep going. But if you have an idea of what you want to see as far as content, you can leave it in the comments, and we definitely take them into consideration when we're coming up with this stuff. So today was about calmness on command, and also using calmness in your commands as well. So now I think we have 6 commands. You know, I used to say we have 5, but I think we have 6. We have sit, down, place, heel, come, and shh, which is calmness on command. And that's how it works, okay? Thank you for joining in, guys. I got a busy day. It's a rainy day. Tank has a go home this morning. Tank also has another go home on Wednesday, I believe, and then he's going to be headed back to South Carolina. What else we got going on? Bailey is going home on Tuesday, so she's only got a couple days, so we're going to be making sure she's where she needs to be. Kylo's here with me. Him and I, as soon as the rain lets up, if it does today, we're going to start getting off property because I think he's ready to start going and doing some more organic stuff. What else we got going on down there? Who am I forgetting? Champ just went back to Gabby's, and Alistair is going home today. Yeah. So busy day, a lot of training to do. I hope you guys enjoy your Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow with some new stuff starting at 8 a.m.